This episode is going to be about having children. So, it's very expensive, is what he's going to say. So, Philip asked the question. He said, I would love to hear you speak about having children and perhaps not having children. Some context, him and his wife tried for many years to have children. When the natural way didn't work, we also looked into adoption and fertility, but felt like it wasn't right for us. Suffice to say, at this point, many, many years later, we are at peace with the fact that we will not be parents. It does, however, have me wondering if we are missing out on a vital and natural part of our humanness, or if I can actually be content knowing that there will not be another person brought into this very deeply troubled world.
First, I must say, it is something you will never know how is it to be a parent until you become a parent. So there's no way to compare these two worlds. There's no way. Once you're a parent, you're a parent. There's a whole world by itself. When you're not, you are not. So there is not even point in pondering. It's a beautiful question he's asking because he wanted to, he tried, it didn't happen. So I can remember the times, I can only relate with this, is when I didn't have kids for first 5 years of married life. That was quite something. There's a lot of freedom, a lot of time for ourselves and so on and so forth. But once you have kids, everything changes, Everything changes. So one might be a journey of the self, another one is a journey of no self. When you have kids, you transcend yourself. There's something more important than you. When you don't have kids, you are everything. I don't even know how to make a comparison. I don't even know how to advise somebody which is what. But I think you are where you are, and that's your life. Like for me, I think this is the best part of my life, being a parent. Doing something more than for yourself, living for another. I think it's an incredible, when you're more afraid for them than for you. And I think it's an incredible space to be in. It's not easy. But it's incredibly rewarding. It will be one of the best things. Many of you will wake up to say the best thing I ever did, the only most meaningful thing. But that's for the person who has kids. The person who don't have will never have to know that. They get to know being them, being for them, living for them. So I don't think it's a fair question to be able to compare or to even ponder. It is like a fact. It's how it is. It's just, it's.
But it's
I think
also-
you are lucky. Sorry, I think you are lucky if you have kids, and I think you are lucky if you don't.
But I was going to say, for people who want children and can't have them, it's a particular point of pain and heartache and...
No, it's a pain and heartache of something you don't know. It's something you don't know. Until you have it, you don't know. So you are living off a projection, an idea. It's something you must say, I will never know. It's like being gay. I would never know. And there's no point even contemplating of it, pro or con. If you are, good for you. If you're not, you're not. So it's not something that you can actually bring to discussion, compare. No, you cannot. You cannot. But I think the question is asking, would I be more fulfilled or not fulfilled by having children? This is when you trust existence. This is when you trust life. If you are meant to have a child, you would have a child. If you're meant not to have a child, then you won't have a child. So you must kind of bow to existence. There's a many times I see some of my students who don't have kids. I said, good for you. This life you can dedicate to you. For people who have children, I said, good for you. This time you can dedicate to go beyond you, to drop you, to live off the no self, and one you live the self. And you should never compare. You understand? It's two different reality. Each has its beauty. Each has its wonder. And this is when you must trust existence. This is when you must let faith play itself out. Like for him particularly, he has to live out the faith of wanting and not having.
Yeah.
So it comes down to me living my faith, My faith is despite me what is there. If you ask me being a parent, oh my God, I would say, I think we are still recovering from you guys being young. I think we are still having the withdrawal symptom when you were kids. That was the best ever. And I think children are a point of healing, What that you didn't get, what you didn't receive, you try to 10 times give your children. And actually, it's not necessarily what the children want. Is what you need to do to heal yourself. And maybe people who don't have children, that healing is not needed. That's a perspective.
That's a nice way of thinking
looking
about
at
it.
You don't need that healing. Like having you guys was the best healing ever, because I don't think I would have worked this hard. I don't think I would have done what I did. I would have probably checked out somewhere in a cave and meditate, and I would have spent my life. If it's just your mother, she can cook for me and we'll just sit together. That's what we did the first 5 years. I always think your mother is still recovering from the first 5 years when you guys were not around. The first 5 years. It was like just 2 hours. There was no worry, just 2 hours living together. It was a particularly indulging time. You're not bothered. But when you came along, everything. I think this world is built by parents, not single people. This world is because you look for money, you look for business, you look for house, you look for future, you want to secure the world. You see, he said, I'm glad I'm not bringing my children into this. I didn't bring a child into this messed up world. I have to unmess this world for my kids. So if I'm working for the future, in some sense, for a very selfish reason, I'm creating a world that is good for my kids.
That's always like the thing that people talk about, right? Even when I think about myself, like I feel like either I want to have like 4 children or I would not. It's not fair to bring any children into this world.
No, my argument is open, Sometimes maybe I think we shouldn't bring in children to this world. This world is so messed up, and we are bringing them into unimaginable stress, Now it's not only making a living, killing a wild boar, or finding some food. This is all kinds of things that's unfolding.
Climate change lah.
No, not only the pressure the child will go through to be a person, to be able to adopt into this world, and hopefully the child doesn't have any problem, doesn't have any personality issue.
But that's also the thing, right? There was a case in Malaysia about this boy. I don't know if you saw it. This autistic child, he was found dead. Like he was went missing, and then he was found dead in the river or something.
Sure.
And it turns out that they think it was the parents. And he was autistic. I think he was non-verbal. But when they did the report for him, his parents cut off his ear. They I don't even want to say all horrific things to the child. And I remember thinking so many people like Philip, they want children so badly. And then there are people who are lucky enough to have children, and they want a child that fits into their narrative of what their perfect child is. But if you want a child so badly, if your child comes Down syndrome, autistic, whatever, you still should love it, right?
Yep. And more. Love them even more. You see, not everybody survives being a parent. This is for me, my view. It doesn't matter my view, but my view is you be very conscious if you want to have a child nowadays, because you have the option. Those days, there was no option. Be very conscious. Do you want to go there? You must know what it's going to take. It's going to take everything you got, and you better enjoy what it takes from you. It better takes. I remember those days, Appa used to speak 4 hours away, and I had work to do, speak, and I'll drive at night. Because in the morning, I could get to see you all. You all come up. And to me, that was worth it. Just to come back to see you all run towards me. And And then when they turn teenagers, Anba, they go like, hi. But I signed up. I want to be a parent. I love it with all its difficulty. And it is right for me, for my evolution. It fulfilled me. It healed something in me. It gave me something, right? And I think that's a parent. A parent is, a child is given to you for you to heal you more than the child. So your child never has to be grateful to you. They paid you in full. Every child that smiles at you, give you a kiss, has paid the parents in full. Those who don't have it, well, you don't have that burden. You get to live you. And you should not compare. Like, what is his name again?
Philip.
Philip was asked, you probably have to live that sorrow of how it could have been, and that's your life. But now let me ask you, do you have to have your own child to be a parent? You can play a role in so many kids' life.
Yeah, you know, my friend's nephew the other day, I was playing with him and disturbing him all night. And then I said, they call him Sam Sam as his nickname. I was like, bye, Sam Sam, I'm going to miss you. And then I booped his nose. He was like, bye, Auntie Apshi. And he booped my nose. And he's just like, he's 3 or 4 years. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I saw him as a little baby. I was like, now he's like a little witty and funny. And I was just
And
like,
why can't you take them into your heart? Why does it have to be your own?
yeah, and you just love them because it's
Yeah.
like,
And I'm telling you, that is what is missing. It almost has to be my child, my gene pool. Why can't you embrace every child and enrich your life by that? First, my statement, karma, destiny, faith. If you're supposed to have children, you will. If you're not, I don't think you're going to have. So you accept your fate. Next, don't let that stop you from embracing every child. So everybody has a right to be a parent, directly or indirectly. You know? But I think once you have a child, that's why in Hindu they have, samsari, sannyasi. Sannyasi is the unmarried, the celibate, so you never have children. Samsari is the one who's with family and children. They always say the samsari will never become enlightened, very difficult. Only the sannyasi become enlightened. So when people don't have children, I always think you have a chance to work on you this life. People who have children, you have a chance to work on life itself, on humanity itself. So if you take the ancient wisdom, they prefer people not to have children so they can dedicate to themselves. And people who have children have to go and build this world for their children.
but if we go back to like those parents I told you about of that child that was killed, right? What about situations like that? The abuse, the neglect?
I think more happens without being reported. There are many people who breed children, they don't become parents. That is why, in some sense, many should not become parents because they don't have the temperament for it. They resent.
Or like maybe just not even the responsibility. So I always like this one time it just disturbed me when I was working for this company. We did like a CSR. We went deep into the kampong and there was this family, I think they already had 4 or 5 children. They didn't have money for food. We've come to donate food and all of that. And the kids were all very sweet. Like, oh, this is my cat. This is his name, blah, blah, blah. And then we saw the babies. They were all drinking condensed milk. So they're drinking the condensed milk. They don't even have milk. And then the parents are talking to us and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to try to have a son next. And I was like, what are you doing? Your 5-6 months to feed, you don't have enough food. Why are you bringing another child into... This is my judgment, but I just felt like, what are you doing? What's happening here? What is the point of this child? Like, I couldn't understand. Because there's a responsibility too, right? With now with so many of my friends, like, we're getting older and we talk about kids and all that. Like, yeah, we'll do what we can afford. And like that is important to be able to provide a good life, not to just have them for the sake of having them.
Right.
Because they're going to have to live in this world.
Right. So now there is more accountability, right? But what is your question in this?
I guess just like, what about, like, it's
Like you're asking what's going on.
What's going on? And I'm also like, it's hard for me to like wrap my brain around people like Philip who want a child so badly and could provide for the child. It just didn't happen for them. And then people like this child who was killed, his parents, and the other 5 other children running around without food in their mouths whose parents want to have more kids. Like, what is that? What's going on?
That's what we are here to figure out. If you want to know your role, we have to bring some sanity to this. It's not going to come on its own. So you're defining our role too. That we bring some light to this. We educate, we teach, we really make people conscious. See, what is the most important thing is becoming conscious of what they are doing. To be alert of one's action. It's messed up. There are people who are selling their kids for all kinds of things. What do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do? And that is our action. How am I acting in a way to bring sanity to this
Like
world?
we can see some people are not fated to have children, but why are some bad people fated to have children?
Maybe for you and I to mount a response. Maybe for you and I to wake up. It's like, why is the war happening in Gaza? Is it for them or is it for the rest of us that have to mount a response? It comes down to you and me. We can look at life and say, why is life this way? Maybe it's this way because he's asking you and I to get off our ass and do what we need to do, to play a role, to educate, to wake people up. And whenever it is children, then there's no more excuse. This is the mystery. I know we want everything to be in a perfect way so we never have to answer it or think about it. Maybe it is messed up because we have to wake up to answer the mess, to put it right. Like we must develop a culture. A child is to be protected. A child, it has to be right. Like I'm going to build an orphanage, and one of the rules of the orphanage is there are no orphans. There are no orphans. There are some children whose parents are not there, but they will not grow up orphan. Somebody will be there. We will take care of them because that's not allowed. So maybe all of this is there for us to mount a response. You must understand, all of evolution is mounting a response. A desert has very little rain. It mounted a response. It created a cactus. We have heavy rainfall. We mounted a response to create this situation. So almost everything is mounting a response. So what is my response to this story? What is my response to this? You say a child is born with Down syndrome. The first thing the parents are going to think, how is he going to survive this world? Why haven't we created a world children with disability will be taken care of? What is the point of our wealth and development if we cannot take the weaker ones well? Why? So there is no answer. Like you ask Philip, I wish I could give you an answer, sir. But you have to find out the longing to have a child and not having a child. What is your response for that? What is your response for that? Like some people who don't have children, I say, then dedicate to meditation. Dedicate to waking up. Be the human being that will spread love and truth for humanity. Those who have parents, you have a couple of children given to you to create a better human in the world. Now get on with it. You have a child with a special need. You know the person you need to become. Now that's the challenge. We would like a world where there is no question, no, we have to provide an answer. And I think when it comes to children, all bets are off, I don't care whether the child is Hindu, Muslim, Christian, it doesn't matter, it's a child.
Yeah.
Then it feels like that's where our greatest sanity lies. All I can say is this, it's like your brother, my firstborn, the brother died at birth. Almost every boy child that comes around here, my disciple have a child, a boy, I'm almost gameplay. Maybe I have to lose him to be able to accept, embrace all the young brats. And maybe that is my response, that I adopt, I take in, I play a role, I become their uncle, I become their dada. I don't have that much affinity when they're daughters. I'm like, yeah, they're like my daughters. It's like the sons. So, is what is happening, even though in one context it's tragedy, but is it in another context a demand? Like you see this autistic child, whatever they did, isn't that what they do to a lot of children with special need? We don't treat them well.
I know.
We are not kind enough. You see, somebody will say, I don't have a child. I say, Philip, I don't have a child. You don't have, but many have. Go play a role. Why does it has to be yours? Why can't you love all children? Like when we build this place, I bought another place next to me, and the whole idea is to put up an orphanage there. You know why? All the children that grow up in that orphanage will be able to be part of this, enjoy this, will have many, many people they know. So they will never ever feel alone. And they will develop relationship with some people. Some people will take them in. At least surrogately they will have. That's the idea. No child is an orphan. You know, we have another place that we're going to build, which is for single mothers. No questions asked. Show up, they'll take care of you.
You see, but that is, I think, why particularly the genocide in Gaza is so hard to stomach.
Yeah.
In any genocide is wrong, but it's like the war with the most number of children who casualties. And they said now Gaza, Palestine, has the most number of child amputees. And you just like, when you see children, this is why I'm always crying after I do the Book Effect project, your heart just like, it can't take it because they're literally just kids. You see the refugee children in Malaysia, I'm always tearing up afterwards. I'm just like, this life is going to be so hard for them. This is not their fault. They're just kids. What could they do?
Now, what is our response? I know in the beginning it feels like what I do will not matter much. But like what Philip asked, what is your response? You want to have a child? You don't have a child? Maybe you should adopt every child. Like Paul has so many children he has adopted. It's not, I think he stopped counting. He has so many children in Nepal. To me, what life is one thing. How I am responding to it is my thing. What is my answer? What is my role?
I always have this one, like the every time people ask me about Book Effect, there's like one story. We went a few years ago to this home in Rawang. All the children are HIV positive. What could children have done to have HIV?
Right.
And we went into the home, and first thing we walked in, this little boy, he had a little limp. He just walked out. He's like, "Who are you guys? What's going on? How are you coming in, showing us around?" Small guy, and these kids were very sweet. We did the whole library and everything. And then we were talking to the lady. So the house is here, across the street is a public school. So it's like, oh, the kids, do they go to the school? She's like, no, the teachers don't want them in the classroom. They don't want other children to even touch them. And then she was like, and the caregiver, she was so funny. She's like, I've lived here for the past 10 years. I don't have HIV. And I was like, they're children. They're innocent. Like, how can the teachers are doing that? And I just like...
Now, is this happening to the child or is it happening to you and me? Like, children are being killed. Something happening to a child. But something is happening to me too, right? I'm witnessing it. What is my response? You know what is about being a parent? Is mounting a response for the need of the child, to put your need aside, is to develop that response, right? And you don't only have to do that if you have a child. So in some sense, everybody is a parent too, right? Like I have so many kids who I've seen them born around me. Now they are bringing babies to me. I'm like, what? Am I gone that old? Whatever I can, what is my response? What is my response? Live the world. What is mine to do? I know you think what is one person's to do doesn't mount to much, maybe. But if enough of us does it, maybe what Philip is here to show is how precious is it to have children. Thanks, Philip. From his question, I feel like, oh my God, I'm lucky. I got children. Not that I'm burdened. I'm lucky. Like I have one parent who has a Down syndrome child. I always look at him and I said, you are such a lucky man. You have no choice but to love. You cannot get angry. I have kids I can get angry with. They're rational.
You can still get angry at a Down syndrome child.
Yeah.
lah.
No, but I said, do you know what it takes?
The fear to
No, what it
keep him in
takes, you have to see beyond everything. And this guy is a pretty violent fellow, bit aggressive fellow. I said, do you know what it takes? He is your teacher. Now, maybe I can step back and say this. You don't just have a child to be responsible or to mount the response, isn't it? One is a personal response. Another one is a response to humanity, right? So you cannot not be the kind of person that will play a role in making this world a better place for the future generation, which is what fundamentally parents are. They are creating a future for this child to thrive, right? And everybody can be a parent. Shouldn't everybody be? Right? Shouldn't everybody be? Like in the East, a samsari is looked down on because he has personal kids. He said he only looks after his family. The sannyasi who doesn't have children looks after the entire humanity. He said if you're a samsari of wife, children, then you only focus on their well-being. But if you don't have, now you're focused on the well-being of all. So I guess when you don't have children, you're a greater parent than the parent who have children. You're working for the well-being of all. But
because children need your focused attention.
yeah, but I tell you, what the child gives you, I don't know how a parent can ever repay. But like what you all have given us, I have no idea how I deserve it, how I can repay. It's not that you need to be grateful to me. I am grateful. As a kid, not now, as a kid. No, they asked for handbags. As a kid, how they were, oh my God. I used to think, what? The amount they give you. If there is any wound, you get healed. That's the joy of being a parent. You get healed. I'm telling you, you get healed. You cannot wish that much for another human being. You cannot wish that much for another child. And I think that's an initiation that this individual need. If you don't have a child, I assume you came with that intention. Now offer it to all of humanity.
That's a really nice way of looking at it.
Maybe I need it.
You know, like Auntie Bhavani, I feel like is a great example. Like she never wanted children. It's like if you meet her, you know she don't want children. Right. But she's always been like so lovely to me and
she's the one who produced the children's book.
Yeah.
What is it called? Bablu.
Yeah.
She who doesn't have children produced one of the most beautiful...
No, but you can see that she holds like me and Aishi so dear. The way she holds her nephew and me so dearly. But she doesn't want it for herself.
Do you know how many parents you have had? Even though we are the primary parent, almost Shalini, Bhavani, almost everybody around are like, even Anba, I can say, I have a picture of him looking at you like, all are parenting. I know if you are somewhere, Anba is there, I rest. I know if you are there, Prem is there, I'm rested. They are all co-parenting too, isn't it? And nothing is stopping them from. Because when you do well, they all go like, Like you graduate, I remember I should have brought Prem. I came back, I was telling him, showing the photo, you could see how proud, like a father, he was proud. I knew. What stops anybody from being a part of that? I think no humanity must miss out being parents. But I think faith decides whether you have one on your own that you have to pay for, or you get to share somebody else's and they pay for it. So I think that's a better deal, Anba. They pay for university.
To be aunties and uncles.
You just get to buy them some gift once.
But it's like, you watch now, my friends all slowly starting to have kids. Like I love them, and I can't wait to see who they will be and what.
And who said you are not a parent? Who said? Maybe that's why people have children, because they need to be initiated to be parents. Maybe you don't have children because you already came with that quality already. You just have to live it. To me, I have both, you know. If you don't have children, dedicate your life to you, meditate, grow, serve humanity at large. If you have a family, then it has its own joy. I will not choose one over the other. I don't know if I have to do it all over again, what would I do? I'll have more. I wouldn't have stopped at two. Your mother was tired. If not, I would have had many. For sure. I love it. For me, it fits me. I'm built for it. I don't know what else I will do. I love being a father. I love being all that. But for those who don't have it, don't have the kids, don't let it stop you either. Because the joy that you feel for a child doing well, growing, being proud is one of the most precious gifts of being a human. And maybe that's what humanity is looking for, that we parent the earth so the future generation has a beautiful earth. And nobody can stop that. Right? Nobody can stop that. But I finish with this by saying, Philip, thank you. Because somehow in your question, you make me feel I'm lucky. But I hope my answer tells you how lucky you are too. For you can miss how it feels to be a parent. And maybe the real message is everybody to wake up to be a parent to this earth. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.